to episode 39. This is the penultimate episode for this season. We're almost getting to the end. I know, it's kind of strange. Please remember that if you're watching us on YouTube, please remember to subscribe to our channel and to share with your friends and like the video and all of that.
And please leave us a nice rating wherever you watch it. If it's on YouTube, please thumbs us up. If it's on iTunes, please leave us a star rating. SoundCloud, I actually don't know what you can do. Apple podcast, whatever. Please, we really appreciate it. It helps us a lot. It helps people to discover us. Yeah, like Adi said, please share with your lovely, lovely friends.
Yes.
Okay, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that. I was just going to say we've been getting some good feedback as well from new subscribers, so we are really appreciating.
So you guys are doing the work, the Lord's work out there. We thank you very much because every day somebody finds us, somebody new finds us, and so we appreciate it. We appreciate you immensely for listening from all over the world as well. We get listeners from Namibia, places I would never expect. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. All right.
And helping speak.
All right. Okay. So the Ghana psychiatric healthcare system is in the news again. And recently there was an article and an accompanying video on Ghana Web regarding the conditions at mostly the Asylum Down mental institution. Now, to my knowledge, I think we only have like two main mental hospitals. That would be the one at Asylum Down and then Pantang, psychiatric hospital. Now, as you may or may not know, the mental health is such an underserved, underfunded, underprioritized sector in Ghana. We tend to sort of disregard mental health issues, even though they're just as, I guess, crippling and disabling as physical health issues are, but we tend to, I guess, attribute things to more spirituality than to needing mood stabilizers or talking to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Anyway, so both hospitals are in completely deplorable condition. This particular journalist focused mainly on the Asylum Down one. Structurally, it's in shambles. There's chunks of the building falling off in some places, so on and so forth. It's overcrowded. They have water issues. They don't have enough beds. Some of the inpatients are sleeping on the floor on mats. Feeding is obviously a problem since it's overcrowded and underfunded and understaffed as well. And part of this has resulted in a whole other industry, which I'm not even going to talk about today, of people taking their relatives and loved ones with mental health issues to prayer camps. And a few people have covered the conditions at these prayer camps as well, and they're really no better. These people get chained to the floor and left there, and they come and sprinkle holy water on their face and go. And they're not getting any better. They're not getting rehabilitated, nothing. And it becomes a situation where it's literally torturous and abuse. So anyway, but what stood out to me in this particular, or the angle of this particular report, wasn't so much that the conditions there are terrible, which we're aware of, and so on and so forth. It's that part of the reason that overcrowding is such an issue is because there's a whole cadre, if I should call it that. I always try using words. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Let's just say a whole subsection of the inmate population who are only there because they've been abandoned by their relatives. They're actually no longer in need of care, but they no longer can get in touch with their relatives. Their relatives took them there and left them, and they literally have nowhere to go. And also, I suspect that as if you've been taken to a mental institution for inpatient care, you're not allowed to check yourself out. I don't believe you can do that. I don't think so. So therefore, the doctor, but then you can't sign yourself out. No. It have to be somebody. Somebody will have to. You have to be signed into someone's care, and these people are unable to find their relatives, or they don't know where their relatives are. So they profiled two people. One of them was called Lolonyon, and he'd been there since 1983. He's in his 60s now, and he's basically a shell of a person. Like and he's fine, he's functional, and he does not need to be there, to the point where he's even assisting the staff with other patients and stuff like that. And he said he has no idea where his family is. He doesn't even remember who his family is. He has nowhere to go, nothing to do, no skill sets anymore, nothing. And he's like, he's resigned himself to the fact that he's going to die there. And there's another gentleman who had been there who had been there for 18 years. He said that he had some issues as a result of head trauma. He got into a bad accident, and I think he had some brain injury. And so he was thrashing about, having fits. And apparently in one of these fits, he pushed his father and killed him. And he said he has no recollection of this. He woke up in the place. They told him what he'd done. And, they gave him medication because I think he had brain swelling and a fever. And that resolved itself in 3 months. And this man has been there for 18 years because he said his wife divorced him. His kids, he and their kids abandoned him. The relatives were like, oh, you're a murderer. And so they left him there. And he is very aware that he does not need to be there. But he's like, if I leave now, I'll end up on the street. Because that's where, those that are not in prayer camps and those that are not in the mental institution are literally on the streets. And so just in sum, it's a really, really acute and terrible problem. As we say, the measure of a society is how we treat our most vulnerable. And, these people are our most vulnerable. And I feel like, considering that a lot of them are taking up space that people with active issues could be using, we need to, I don't know, as you say, government, but who else is it going to be? Government, maybe have a halfway, because the head of the hospital did mention something like a halfway home situation. So they moved out of the hospital into another home, but they're like, it's like supervised care. Maybe they can find small jobs to do and things like that, so they can gradually get back in society. But for someone like Lolonyo, who's in his 60s, it's too late. But there are other people who, they're just recently cured. They haven't sort of become, in the system, just entrenched in the system like that. And there's something that can be done. So I hope that somebody is paying attention. I don't have too much faith, but it's necessary, and I hope somebody pays attention and does something. And that's my
that's just
news,
such a terrible story. But thanks for highlighting it. Very necessary. Okay. So my in the news is a bit more positive and uplifting. So I think we all know Mr. Eazi. Yes. And this time it's not about his music, but about what he's doing. Now he's planning on getting into coconut farming. And he really recently attended a UN conference in Rome and highlighted something that we definitely all need to. We've all have been talking about that agriculture is a very important part of solving the problems that we have here. Now, what inspired him to get into coconut farming is the benefit he saw after he had met with a woman. She wasn't doing so well, but then once she started coconut farming, she was able to send her kids to school, and her life just generally got so much better. And for him, he said that was his wake-up call. And so he's now become an advocate for agriculture, and he's hoping that more young people get into agriculture. Now, Africa happens to be the world's youngest population, with 400 million people between the ages of 15 and 35. So that's quite high. Now, the project is in Nzima East, I believe, and looks to train people in coconut farming and oil production, and then later expand to other things. And I particularly like this from Mr. Eazi. A lot of people look up to him. A lot of people probably want to be like him. So in the first instance, he's done this Empower thing.
Yes, which is wonderful.
Exactly, which is an incubator program where he sort of supports new artists. So somebody who looks up to Mr. Eazi might say, okay, I'm not good in music, so I can't get into this Empower thing. But I'm young, and he's doing this coconut farming. So it's inspiring for me. Let me get into that. And I think that's a brilliant thing. A lot of these people are role models to other young people. So if he talks to them and tells them that this is what will make your life better or make Ghana better,
they might pay attention.
They pay attention and do it. So that's my really, really short in the news.
Wonderful.
Mr. Eazi doing
Shout outs to you.
Yes, doing a wonderful, wonderful job. I just think it's
in many, many areas. Yes. Honestly,
he's one of those who's doing so much more than
I stand to be honest.
So big ups to you. Pretty good news that I saw, and I said I had to share.
Okay,
so
wonderful. Okay, so And we're moving into music, songs of the week. I have 3 songs. The first one is called Bad, and it's by Kizz and features Wretch32. Now, Kizz is actually a very, very popular Nigerian artist. His name is Oluwatobiloba Daniel Anidugbe. And the reason his nickname is Kizz is he said that, well, he has a dimple. And he said when he was in high school, they used to call dimple Kiss, a kiss. And there was a Kisses Daniel because he had 2 dimples, and he's Kizz because he only has 1. So yeah, Kizz Daniel to differentiate him from the other Daniel. Yeah. So anyway, he was born and raised in Abeokuta, Nigeria. He graduated from the Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, and he did a degree in water resource management and water engineering. So a smarty pants, this one. And it was during his time at university that he started making music actively because he always had a musical inclination. And yeah, I mean, like I said, to be honest, Kizz is one of my favorite artists, like by far. I don't think I've ever heard a song of his that I haven't liked. And he's had quite a few hits. Woju, Laye, Mama, Yeba, and now his new album is out. He also has a song called Sofa, and the girl he's talking to in the song is called Fiona. So, I extra enjoyment from that. And he has had 2 albums to date. And the second one is called No Bad Songs. And true, there are no bad songs on it. And that came out in 2018. And this song, Bad, is on there. And it features Wretch32. Now, Wretch32 is a British singer and rapper. And he's also well respected and well established in the UK. And he's been at it for a while as well. And so, yeah, that's about it. Check him out. Listen to the whole album. You really like it. Yeah, Kizz featuring Wretch32, Bad. The song is super vibely. Love it. Okay. Now, the second song is by an artist called Jack Garratt, and it's called Breathe Life. Now, Jack is a 28-year-old singer-songwriter. He's from the UK, and he's been doing music since he was very, very young. He's a natural talent because he can play the piano, he plays drums, he plays the trombone, he plays the mandolin, he plays the ukulele, and that's not even all the instruments he can play. So he went to the University of Roehampton and said he was actually training to be a teacher, but then he kind of dropped out because he realized that the music was truly his passion and the only thing he wanted to do. So he started working on his music full time as well. And his debut album called Phase came out in 2016 to critical and I believe some commercial success as well. It's really, really good. It's the kind of album that somebody that can play 15 instruments would make. And also it has... See, I always say I don't like electronic music. I always say I don't like techno and house and whatever. But that's not actually true. I think I like very specific artists. I like Disclosure a lot. I like Subtract. Who else? Kate Tranada, who I've featured on here before. There's some South African house artists I really like. So when I say I don't like electronic music, it's a lie. 'Cause his album also has a really wonderful combination of genres. So there's soul, there's rock and things like that, piano-driven stuff, but there's also like some electro-based undertones to it. And I think Breathe Life kind of embodies what the album is like, and it's wonderful. This song is beautiful. Check it out as well. So that's my second song, Breathe Life by Jack Garratt. And the third one is by an artist called Mahalia, and it's called Simmer, and it features Burna Boy because Burna Boy is on everything because he's having the run of his life, basically. So Mahalia Berkman is 21 years old. She's a singer-songwriter and also actress, and she's from Leicestershire in the UK. Her dad is British, her mom is Jamaican, and she's been singing again since she was very young. She wrote her first song when she was only 8, and she signed her first label deal when she was 13. So she's released 3 EPs and 2 albums to date. Her second album came out in 2019. It's called Love and Compromise, and it features the song called Simmer. Now, Simmer is a bop, and like 90% of the reason that it's a bop is because it samples the iconic legendary Playground Rhythm. Now, you think you don't know what the Playground Rhythm is, but you
probably
do.
heard it.
Because Beanie Man's Who Am I? That's Playground Rhythm. Sean Paul, Infiltrate. That's also Playground Rhythm. Mr. Vegas has a song on the Playground Rhythm as well.
Right.
You know it. It's iconic. So yeah. And here too, it just made the song just a wonderful, lovely summer bop. And yeah, so those are my 3 songs this week. Bad by Kizz featuring Wretch 32, Breathe Life by Jack Garratt, and Simmer by Mahalia featuring Burna Boy, who is Burna. I didn't have to give you a background there. So. All right,
great stuff. I've got 2 songs for you this week. The first is by a lady called Emily King, and the song is called Look at Me Now. Emily King was born in New York to jazz vocalists Marion Cowing and Kim Calisti. Her debut album came out in 2007 called East Side Story, and it earned a Grammy nomination for Best Contemporary R&B Album of the Year. Now, Look at Me Now is from her most recent album called Sides, and this song was also nominated for Best R&B Song at the 62nd Grammy.
Oh, hello, and we don't know her, what?
I was surprised because I said, I've never heard about her. And I just stumbled upon her, decided to listen to it, and I thought, yeah, she's got quite a nice voice. I think she's half Italian and half African American. When I saw her, I thought she was Caucasian because she looks very Caucasian, but then she's mixed. And yeah, it's a brilliant song. The album is pretty good as well. Very light, not so heavy, so worth checking out definitely. Okay. The second song that I have for you is a song called Lady by Anthony David. Anthony David is an R&B singer and probably most famous for his song As Above, So Below. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Uh-oh. So he started writing songs while he was stationed in Iraq during the Gulf War.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and after he returned from the war, he moved to Atlanta to work on his music. And he was briefly India Ari's artist manager.
Not artist.
No. Okay. Artist manager. And he even wrote a song for her debut album. He also has a duet with India Ari called Words. That's the one.
I do know him. I do know him. I was like, because I was going to be like, that's the one.
And this Words happened to be nominated for Best R&B Performance. Yes. He has 3 albums under his belt, and I've been a fan of his for quite a long time. Lady is a track of his 2006 Red Clay Chronicles, which is pretty good as well. It's a sort of a sensual kind of song, and I think you would love it. So those are my two songs. Look at Me Now from Emily King and Lady by Anthony David.
Okay. All right. So moving on to What the F. And sometimes the What the Fs are amusing, and sometimes they're just truly appalling. And unfortunately today, we have one of the ones that are so appalling that it's hard to believe. And my What the F today is about baby bleaching. So I was on Instagram not too long ago. Well, listen, I'm on Instagram all the time, but this was some time ago. And, Instagram has ads and they scroll. And I don't know what I had done to deserve this, but somehow I was scrolling and I was seeing a lot of hits for bleaching creams. And, as far as I know, bleaching creams are illegal in Ghana. So I was thinking to myself, how are people so boldly advertising these products or whatever it is? So I clicked on one of these people's pages and I'm scrolling down and then I'm seeing how these days there are euphemisms for it. So it's like toning lotion, glow cream, brightening cream. And it was like, look, these are bleaching creams. And they had some of these creams specifically for children and babies.
Yes,
and
I was, you showed this to me.
Yes.
I remember.
I mean, honestly, I had heard about this baby bleaching, but I thought it was some kind of urban legend, They're like, hey, there's some people that bleach their kids. And I'm like, no way, man. Like, no. And there it was. And so, of course, I reported her page and then told everybody else to. I was like, go and report this absolute rubbish. So anyway, not only is it not an urban legend, and not only have people been using creams and lotions on young children and babies, now some women are even not allowing the kid to make it out of the womb before they start bleaching their kids. So in 2018, in the year of our Lord 2018, the Ghana Food and Drugs Administration had to release a warning cautioning women not to take glutathione. I can never say glutathione pills, which are glutathione. I think is some type of vitamin C derivative. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but apparently high levels of glutathione can lighten you. And so pregnant women have taken to using glutathione pills so that their babies will become lighter in the womb. And so the FDA cautioned that using these pills can cause birth defects in the children and also organ damage to the kids. And not only that, apparently in South Africa, or I saw this on the South African Times as well, a woman was saying that a lady came in with her baby, a 2-month-old baby. The child had boils all over, his skin, and she was like, "This does not look like allergies or anything." So she asked the woman what exactly she'd been using on this child, and she said that she was mixing steroid cream into the shea butter that she was using on him. And I apparently put so much on him that the poor child's skin was literally burning.
Can you imagine?
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, with all the information that you have, all the talking people have done, we've talked about bleaching on here before. If you, at your big age, want to be out here looking like roasted plantain, because really that's the end of it, that you end up looking like roasted plantain, probably end up with skin cancer. Your skin will thin, you'll get a cut, it won't be able to heal.
Yeah.
If you want to do all of that because you think being light skinned is a wave and it's really not, that's one thing. We can't, I don't know, we've been trying to talk to you for many years.
The obsession with lighter skin, I just don't understand.
That's bad enough. Leave the damn children alone. Yeah. Leave your kids alone. How dare you? Why would you risk your baby's health for some notion that being light-skinned is going to get you? Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to completely disregard and downplay the effects of colorism and things like that in society and so on and so forth. But like, we're in Africa. All of us are black. Like, I don't know. Like, there are no white people to us. Well, I mean, they're around. Like, let me not sound ignorant, but more of us are dark-skinned and beautiful than not, right? So looking like everyone else is not a bad thing. I don't know if maybe because I'm considered light-skinned. Look, it's not. There's nothing popping over here. There's no, okay, fine. Yes, light-skin privilege exists. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But at the end of the day, you can be light-skinned and broke the same way or whatever it is. It doesn't erase your issues. It doesn't make I don't know. Yeah,
people automatically assume that it makes your life somehow better. That if you're lighter, it automatically means you're closer to the white man. So you're getting the benefits that he gets.
So the white man is gone, for one. Like, we're in a post-colonial, he's not here anymore. So proximity to him, going to be able to be in his house, being the cleaner or whatever, or not reading or being made administration officer or whatever because you're half cool or whatever. Like, we don't have that anymore. There's no need. So we're holding each other down now? Is that it? Our own people are discriminating against, knowing that we're all like typically dark skinned.
It doesn't. The jokes. See, we've talked about this before. The jokes that always float around.
You're so black. What do you mean by that? We're all so black. What do you mean by that? What do you really mean by that? Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm not trying. Again, this is a very, I guess, layered and sensitive issue that I'm trying to summarize into 2 seconds. I understand there's nuance here, but at the end of the day, leave your children alone. Yes. You're risking their health, and it's unfair. How can you be putting steroids on a child? Do you know what steroids do?
Child abuse.
Even as an adult, you can't. They advise that you don't use steroids on your skin for more than 3 days.
Because they know what it does.
Because they know it has adverse effects, and then it starts to become a negative, negative returns. It does more harm than good. Yes. And you have the utter nerve to be rubbing it on your baby. So how long are you going to be doing this for? Forever? So you want your kids to die or have skin cancer? Listen,
it just doesn't make sense.
Anybody I see, first of all, I will report. And I wish people would come and arrest them, to be very honest. It's child abuse after all. It really is.
And you may assume that maybe some of it, or maybe they're not educated, or maybe they don't know better. But you'd be surprised to see the kinds of people who are
They do know. Some of them have made themselves chemists, chemistry, professors of chemistry, just so they can mix all sorts of things and be putting it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Stop it. And if you want to be stubborn, do it to yourself. Don't damage somebody else's health just because you are warped in the head. Like let's
if I see that, I'm reporting the page.
Absolutely. Anyway, so that was my what the F.
Okay. Again, mine what the F is a bit on the lighter
good.
note.
So we need some counterbalances today.
So an Egyptian man is still trying to accomplish his goal of becoming a professional soccer player. Now, Ezzedine Bahada is now 75 and is a member of the Egyptian Football Association. Now, as life would have it, you have a passion in something, but you feel like it's not really going to take you anywhere. So he focused on him being a civil engineering consultant. Later, he became a land cultivation expert. But then in that time, he always had the love for football. So he's now back to his dream of playing football. And the thing is, if he wants to be recognized as a professional football player, he needs to play 2 90-minute matches. So he's actually training for that. He's got a personal trainer. I know, I just love the story. He's got personal trainer. He trains at home, and he's hoping to accomplish this in March. Now, he also trains with his club, which is an Egyptian 3rd Division club. Now, the Guinness World Record for the oldest player is currently held by Isaac Hayek, a 73-year-old Israeli. And that may be toppled soon by this Egyptian guy. And I think the story just shows that if you're passionate about something, you might come back, but then you're still going to try and perceive what you can. You're never really too old to do a lot of things. I'm not going to say all, because you can't do all things, but you're never too old to do a lot of things. If you've got passions that you haven't gotten into, it's never too late. You can do it as a hobby. You can just do it in your spare time. And yeah, this is a good example. I just really found the story heartwarming.
Because people, like you said, people have this impression that once you hit 45, it's over.
It's over for you.
That you can't start anything new, can't learn anything new, can't do anything new. Any dreams you had, that's gone. And that's absolutely not true. And I love when I see elderly people, older people just living their best lives. There's this lady on Instagram, her name is Baddie Winkle.
Oh yeah,
she's like 90-something years old. Baddie, doing the damn thing, styling and profiling in her Fashion Nova and stuff. Who are you to say what? Yeah. I love it. Okay.
So that's a brilliant story. I saw it. I need to share. We tend to share a lot of like negative things. Just up once in a while. It's good to be like, yeah, we have problems, but this is also the nice, good stuff out there. So yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay, so for my 2 pesewas this week, I'm pulling an Eddie. I decided to do something educational. So my 2 pesewas this week is on analysis paralysis, which is very fun to say, I might add. So analysis paralysis is pretty much a fancy way of saying overthinking. But the technical definition is an anti-pattern, the state of overthinking a situation to the point that a decision or action is never taken, in effect paralyzing the outcome. Now, I suffer from analysis paralysis because, of course, I do. And somebody gave a really nice or really cute analogy or parable regarding this. And he said there was a story of a fox and a cat, and they were in the forest and they were talking to each other. And the fox was bragging about how, he has 15, 20 different ways to get away when he hears danger. And the cat is like, I only have one. I just jump into the nearest tree.
Right.
And so they were there, and a hunting party enters the forest. And of course, the cat is like, all right, gonna jump into a tree. And then the fox was standing there like, okay, should I go under this? Should I somersault? And ended up getting caught, right? So that's just a very cute way of describing what is actually can be quite a serious situation. So people with analysis paralysis tend to perceive all decisions to be equal and require a lot of thought. So they get lost in the process of analysis, which then causes constant anxiety and also indecisiveness, which cripples you from acting. Now, analysis paralysis tends to be tied to perfectionism. People who are just like, I have to get it
this
right.
Yeah.
I have to get it right. So they start to analyze every minute detail, most of which are generally irrelevant, and then end up not being able to proceed with the task. Okay. So again, analysis paralysis is tied to the need to guard against failure. Right. So again, it's very serious because it can begin to affect your work life. It can affect your personal life to the point where you might have difficulty composing emails at work, or you compose the email and you're like, okay, how do I sign off? Do I say best regards? Do I say warm regards? Do I say sincerely? Did I say sincerely last time? And then you'll be sitting there for 2 hours and you haven't sent an email which needed to have been sent
long ago.
3 hours ago or something, right?
Wow.
Or in a situation where it's your personal life, they ask you a simple question. Should we go to, let's say, Rehab Beach Club? Shout outs to you if you're in Accra. It's in South Labadi. Holla, go there. Awesome. Okay, so let's say your friend says, do you want to go to Rehab Sundays? And then you're like, wow, this is a very serious question you've asked. And then you sit, you're like, let me call you back. And then you debate and debate and debate and debate. Something that really doesn't require that much debating. And you end up either not going, not calling your friends back, and all that.
Right.
So, according to a psychologist, Herbert Simon, people tend to make two decisions in two main ways. Satisfice, whereas they go with the first option if it fulfills the need fair enough. They're like, good enough, that's okay.
Yeah.
Then you have the maximize people who refuse to go with available solutions because they keep looking for better or the best alternative. And so again, maximizers tend to succumb to analysis paralysis quite frequently. Okay, so they even had a study where they set up 2 jam stands. One had 6 types of jam and the other had 24 types of jam. And they watched people's behavior. Now, obviously, more people stopped at the stand that had 24 because, of course, people go and they're like, oh, more options. Let me go see, because everybody likes variety. However, when they looked at the statistics of the sales, 30% of the people who went to the 6-stand one ended up making purchases. And for the people that went to the 24-stand jam stand, only 3% ended up buying anything because they stood there so long saying that, oh my gosh, should I get checked? And then they got tired and like, you know what, let's just go home.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it can affect so many things that you would not, you can't conceive of immediately. So what to do? 1, prioritize your decisions, okay? Don't sit there making, whether it's what dress to wear for casual Friday at work, African print dress, give it the same weight as what's my wedding dress going to look like. It's not that deep, right? So what they advise is you ask yourself, will the outcome here affect something down the line, right? So your casual Friday work dress, even if you end up choosing one that's not that cute, did you die? I just said, like, will you die? Did you die? No, it won't do anything. It's just one day. As opposed to your wedding pictures, which will last forever, and you probably refer to them forever if everything goes well. Anyway, it's something that it doesn't matter. Some of these things don't matter. You ask yourself, does this matter? Will it affect something if I make the quote-unquote wrong choice? And you'll find that there is no wrong choice between choosing between fries and rice. You'll just eat it and carry on, right? Yeah. Ask yourself again, how important is this thing? Again, whether I get chicken or fish, when on the airplane they come chicken or fish, and you're like, whoa, okay. I don't know.
I know.
Pick one. It will still feed you. Your stomach will be full. You carry on with your day, right? Ask yourself also, do you have to make the decision now? What's the worst that could happen when you make this decision? Also, you can break your decision down into smaller steps so it doesn't seem so big. Make micro steps towards this decision-making process that you're on, right? Forget about perfection. Convince yourself that good enough is fine. It won't break anything. Chicken is fine. Fish is fine. It's all fine. It's all food. Yeah. It's all going to be filling. It's fair enough, right? Now, if you set a timeline for your decision making, right? Say yourself, okay, I have to decide by the end of the day And if you can, put a healthy amount of pressure on yourself.
Right.
Healthy. Don't allow yourself infinite time to make these decisions. Tell yourself, okay, by the end of the day, whatever the case is, I have to call this person back, or within the hour, whatever the case is, I have to send this email. So if I'm going to write sincerely, I'll just write sincerely and send, right? Don't sit there and allow yourself indefinite periods of time to make decisions. Now, like I said, I suffer from analysis paralysis. And part of that reason is because, one, I'm a perfectionist, and two, I believe in the butterfly effect, where I feel like one decision now will have ripple effects, and that's probably all rubbish. Like, I don't think me deciding between this and this is going to come back to haunt me in 20 years. But
because some of the things are so trivial, the things that you focus so much energy on, they're so trivial that's probably not going to
Let me tell you, so I always keep my, it's even embarrassing to say this, my hand wash on the right side of the sink. And then one day I came along, I was like, well, since I'm right-handed, my right hand tends to be dirtier. So, and then I press the thing down with my right hand. Is that making the hand lotion, the soap dirty? So should I move the soap thing to the left and then squeeze into my left and then use it to massage the soap? And I stood there for 30 minutes trying to decide this. And then I started getting a headache. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm averse to change anyway, so let me just leave it on the right because that's what I'm used to. It's utter nonsense and it's terrible, and I'm trying to work through it. And yeah, maybe you're out there and you do this and you didn't know there's a name for it. There it is, analysis paralysis, and you can do something about it. So start being, like I said, being aware of the problem is the first step to doing something about it. So that's my opinion.
That is super, super wonderful. I really, really like it. Yeah, I love it. Okay, and with that, we're on to my two Pesewas. So my two Pesewas today is a suggestion from one of our lovely listeners, Theophilin. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Now, and since we promise and don't fail, I thought I'd address it. Now, the backstory to this was a Shatawale video going around. He was getting his face routine on, and he was talking about how people needed to mind their business and stop gossiping about others and focus on themselves. So I thought I'd just address it and talk about, mind your business, focus on your journey.
First of all, Shatawale is the epitome of good message, wrong message, because he's a scallywag and a rapscallion and does the absolute most. And I still haven't forgiven him for causing trouble at the VGMAs and causing mayhem because I almost got a tear gas in my face. So I don't want to hear anything Shatawale has to say, but please continue.
Right, so see, in a world where it's increasingly noisy, and by noisy I mean information is just so, you get so inundated with information, and if you don't focus, you might get distracted by this noise, right? And it's pretty much everywhere you look. When you look on Twitter, you look on Instagram, you look on Facebook. When you're on the TV, it's like every news is a breaking story. Our aunts and uncles won't stop forwarding us these weird WhatsApp messages, and it goes on and on and on. And often we're tempted to react to or interact with the things that we see. But you just got to take a step and ask yourself, is it at the expense of my mental health? Is it worth my time? Or could I be doing something better with this time?
Is it my business?
Is it my business? And it's true, a lot of the noise out there keeps us informed, yes. But a lot of the time, the noise or the information out there is really trivial,
it's
right?
Useless, right?
And that is not to say that a lot of the time, we all need breaks, right? So you might go on Twitter, get a little giggle here and there, and that's not a bad thing. But if you're focusing too much of your time there, and you could use that time for something else, then you really need to think about what you're doing. And he agreed, some of this is FOMO. You feel like you're actually missing out on something, so you need to stay in tune with your Twitter feed, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, what have you. It's just like everywhere, right? But you should realize that there's something else you need to focus on. Focus on your journey. Focus on the things that will add to your life and get you further. Now, not everything is meant for your consumption. Some of these matters grate on your mental health. They might either trigger your depression, might cause anxiety, And a lot of the times we get into Twitter wars with people that we actually don't even know. You see something
most
on
of the
there.
time it's people you don't know, and then you ask yourself, why do I care what the stranger thinks? He doesn't even know me. Because they'll say something like, you're just this and this and this, and you're
then
like,
it gets to you.
You got all this from one sentence, and then you're like, wait, he doesn't know me, so he's just talking out the ass. So why am I letting this be so important that I'm here like in a rage?
Exactly. Right? And then you ask yourself, like, me this, like, for
what did I achieve?
Like, what did I achieve by doing
Because
that?
you should know, just to interrupt you here. And then one of my friends, was talking to this, told me I was talking to one of my friends about this, and I said, look, I'm at the point in time where deep down I understand that there's no changing anyone's mind on the internet. The internet has gotten to the point where everybody is entrenched in their belief system. Yes. Because whatever you believe, chances are, that's internet rule number 5555, you'll find somebody else somewhere in the world whose beliefs align with yours. As stupid as they can be, you'll find a group of people that are like, yes, I agree with you. And so everybody gets entrenched into their little sections of the internet where they just kind of bounce each other's stupid ideas back and forth, and they start believing things. And so you come along and you're trying to have a rational, objective discussion, thinking that maybe if I prove my point, and identify how the logic here, he'll be like, oh yeah, actually I see. It's never going to happen. It's 9 times out of 10, depending on who you're talking to. These people they're not here to debate. They're just here to shout. And you thinking that, oh, like, I'm, logical. I know I learned critical thinking skills. I'm going to have an open and frank debate and we can all change our mind. It's not going to happen. And so you're almost wasting your time trying to argue back and forth online with some of these people. So
and there are people who are just there to oppose your views. They don't really care about the substance of
what they say. They're just against. I'm just going to
oppose. Let me get some clout and just talk about anything stupid. And I found myself in a situation where I see something on Twitter and I start typing. I'm like, you know what? This is really not worth it. Let me go mind my business because this is not going to bring me anywhere, right?
And they're not going to change their mind, really.
No.
So of course, it's frustrating because, of course, some of the things are really, really bad. Like, people are talking about sexual abuse or sexual assault, and then somebody will come and be like, well, stay indoors or dress decently. Like and you're like, you're going to like, it's not and you should, but you have to understand, this guy has been team dressed decently his entire life. He's found thousands of similar dummies who are also like, yes, dress decent and you won't be raped or whatever. And so they're sitting there, and so you can't now come with your little, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, and give examples even, and they're still like, well,
he's going to stick to his views. Yeah. And of course, I understand that change doesn't happen with shut mouths. It's clear, but you've got to be careful about the kinds of battles that you pick. If you're on Twitter or wherever going to argue about the hem of some celebrity's skirt was too short, and you're putting so much energy in it, you need to ask yourself: is this my focus? Is this where I need to be? Right? It does not add positively to your life, and I'm not going to be here and act like we don't all do it. We all do.
Because sometimes you can't resist, man.
We jump on things that are actually not beneficial to ourselves. It's really not that necessary. And there was something else I saw recently. A Nigerian artist. I think I showed this to you. There was a guy on, I think, rollerblades or something. He fell suddenly. The guy was very dark, and this singer said he's too dark to be a Nigerian. So I got into the comments and I said something that, are we still making these jokes? And then I was going to put it on Twitter and I asked Peaches that, well, I really don't want all this clout and I'm really not the type.
Because I said, okay, you could put it there already, all right. But are you ready for the inevitable, clapbacks or whatever it is? And she was like, you know what?
I don't like
it's not fear. It's just that you don't need to give your energy to everything.
Absolutely
energy
not.
is precious. Your time is precious. Your mental and emotional well-being is precious. And you don't have to sacrifice it for every idiot and dummy on the internet. So.
And if you know anything about me, I thrive in peace. I just like my peace of mind. I don't like all this extra drama. I don't like that. And Peaches talked about this last week. She talked about focusing, and I can only apply that to everything in your life. Some of these things, just let them go. Focus on the things that will make you the person you want to be tomorrow. If some of these things are really not worth it, the gossiping, the backbiting, how is that going to help you? Is that going to put money in your account? No. So you know what? Focus on what you want to do. And now it's still early in the year, so you've still got enough time to get your ish together, right? So cut the noise. Focus on how you can make the best of the limited time we have. Remember, we're not here forever, right? So make use of the time that you have. And yeah, so that's really my 2 pairs.
That's great.
Yeah, mind your business, stay focused, and drink water.
Theo, I hope this satisfactorily
I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. Just touched on that because you said you wanted us to touch on it. So I said.
By the way, if there are things that you want us to talk about, or you're curious as to what we think, you can let us know.
We will. We will address it. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Okay,
that's it for episode 39.
Bye. See you in the season finale. Oh my God. Season finale next week. All right.
All right,
bye,
then.
Guys.
Bye.